Hi, I'm Lucy, speech and language therapist with Talking Lab, and today we are talking about signing. So I had some really great comments and questions from a few parents, including one from all the way down under. Hi, Lindsay. Who noticed that when I'm communicating with Silver, I'm talking, but I'm also using sign. So today I wanted to do a big shout out to signing, which is an amazingly powerful communication tool. I'm also going to give you a bit of background about what signing is and the differences between different types of signing. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like when babies first start signing back to you, which is super exciting and so worth all the hard work. So my background in signing is that as part of my speech and language therapy degree, I was taught Makaton up to level 4. So Makaton is not actually a sign language. It's a simplified support system that was actually designed to be used with adults with learning disability. So the difference between Makaton and a sign language, for example, British Sign Language. More, there you go. The difference between Makaton and a sign language, for example, British Sign Language or BSL, is that BSL is a highly sophisticated system with all the sentence and grammar markers that you would find in a spoken language. So also the users of BSL wouldn't necessarily be talking alongside signing, and their words would be in a different order to spoken English. So for example, in BSL, if you were asking someone's name, you would say, name your what? Whereas with Makaton, you always talk when you sign, and your words are in the same order as in English. So in Makaton, you would say, what is your name? There is a big overlap between Makaton and BSL, but with Makaton, the signs tend to be a bit more simplified to make it easier for people with disabilities to use and understand the signs. A little interesting fact that you may already know is that sign language is different in every country. So for example, American Sign Language, or ASL, uses a one-handed alphabet. So in BSL, my name is Lucy, and so that would be the L for Lucy. Whereas in ASL, it looks more like the L kind of loser sign. So that's yay for me. You'd like more? Good talking. Here you go. So there are obviously benefits for two-handed and single-handed signing, but when you have a baby, you rarely have two hands free, obviously. So I end up showing Silver a lot more one-handed signs compared to two-handed signs. Like for example, butterfly is quite complicated because you need both hands to be in front of her, whereas single-handed signs are much easier to show her just on the fly. So for example, birdie, I would show her a lot more than butterfly. Signs often look very similar, and you have to rely on the context to recognise which words the person is signing. So for example, this is the sign for sea, so the waves of the sea, but this is the sign for camel, so the two humps of the camel. If we were in the desert and I pointed and signed this, then you would probably assume that I had seen a camel rather than that I had seen the sea. And just like with first words, when children start signing, their signs for different words will look very similar, and you have to interpret the sign in context to understand what that small person is trying to say. So for example, Silver's sign for more, which in BSL is this, Silver signs like this, a bit of a clap, and her sign for crocodile is like a big clap. But if she's eating something and then she signs this, then obviously I'm going to interpret that as she wants more rather than she's talking about a crocodile. Yes, crocodile snap. More melty stick. More melty stick. Good girl. This is the same as when children start talking. So for an example, when a child first starts to say ma, then that word ma might be used to mean mum, also more, or monkey, or someone's name beginning with M. So they'd use that same word to represent lots of different ideas, and it's exactly the same with signing. So one sign will represent a whole lot of different things. The reason why signing is so powerful is the very basic idea that signing is easier than talking. So we talk about bridging the gap. When a child starts to understand the words they hear, it's often a very long time before they have the confidence to remember and use those words kind of spontaneously, so by themselves, without someone saying the word first. But when they can use the sign and they know that that other person will recognise the word that they're saying in sign, then they'll start doing that faster than just waiting until they're ready to use the word. So at dinner time, Silver doesn't need to get upset because she can easily tell me whether she wants more food or whether she's finished eating and she wants some milk and she's ready for bed. And the research has shown that signing absolutely does not prevent babies from talking, and it actually helps children to understand the words faster because children are very visual learners. So signing babies are more likely to be early talkers as well, which is amazing. So signing is just a fantastic tool, and the first thing we recommend for any children with delayed language, with Down syndrome, autism, or any other kind of difficulties that impact on communication. As speech and language therapists, we're not necessarily worried about whether or not children are talking. Our main concern is whether that child has a way to communicate their wants and needs to another person, to the people around them. Because we know that once a child has a communication system in place where they can get a message across to others, either using signing, pictures, PECs, an eye gaze board, a computer program that talks, then we can use that as the basis to work on verbal language from there. So we started signing with Silver pretty much from when she was born, but we started taking her to baby sign classes when she was about 4 months old. And a big shout out to Helen at Little Bear Baby Sign, because the classes are really fun and educational, and we learnt loads of signing, and it was very in line with speech and language therapist recommendations in terms of all the tips and strategies that they use, and the advice that they give to parents about supporting communication at home. So if you can get along, if you have a little person and you can get along to a baby sign class, I massively recommend them, and especially Little Bear Baby Sign. You want more? So we started signing with Silver from when she was teeny tiny, and it really ramped up from when she was about 4 months old. But it wasn't until she was around about a year that she started signing back to us. So in all that time, we had to put in all that work of just us signing to Silver without her signing back to us. But we knew that those signs would come, so we just kept going. And that's one thing that we often hear from people, is that we tried signing and it didn't work, or we tried signing and the person we were signing with wasn't interested. And that's generally a big misconception, because children need to see and understand a sign in context hundreds of times before they're able to start trying to use it for themselves. So it may look like that child is not interested in the signs that you're doing, but actually they are interested, and they're just waiting until they're ready to start having a go at signing for themselves. So I'm going to take it over to Silver now, and she's going to show you the kind of signs that she does at home with us. Are you ready? Yeah? Where's the strawberry? What do we do for strawberry? Good girl. Strawberry. What about, where's Ducky? Good girl. What do we do for Ducky? Yes. Quack, quack, quack. Caterpillar. What do we do for Caterpillar? Good girl. Caterpillar. What about leg? Crocodile. Snap, snappy crocodile. Crocodile, snap, snap. Froggy. What do we do for Froggy? Yes, jumpy frog. Ribbit. So clever. Jumpy frog. What about, where's Apple? Where's Apple? Apple. What do we do for Apple? Yes. Bite the apple. You're so clever. Where's Orange? Yes, Orange. Clever girl. Look, here's the milk. What do we do for milk? That's right, milk. Teddy. Oh, Teddy. What do we do for rain? sun. Yeah, sunshine, sunshine. And birdie. What do we do for birdie? Tweet, tweet, tweet. I can see a phone. Where's phone? What do we do for phone? Hello, Silver speaking. Good girl. Oh, it's monkey. What do we do for monkey? Good girl. Monkey. You're so clever. Oh, who's under the bed? Crocodile. Snap. Snappy crocodile. And who's in the piano? Hippo. What do we do for hippo? Yes. Hippo. Hippo. There's the tractor. Tractor. What do we do for flowers? Yeah. Smell the flowers. What about more? What do we do for more? Yes, we do. Like this. More. But we do it like this. More. Clever. What do we do for cat? Yeah, the whiskers. Cat. I love your colours book. Love your colours book. Oh, I think I saw. Look, a little sheep. What do we do for sheep? Yes, sheep. The horns, sheep. And there's a fairy. Oh, fairy. There's doggy. What do we do for doggy? That's right, doggy. Doggy, you're so clever. Mwah. Okay, this is a crown. You might call it a hat. Hat. What do we do for hat? That's right, hat on your head. And I can see a star. See a star? Ball. Here's the star, yellow star. What do we do for star? We do wave hello to the stars. Thanks, baby sensory. Star, star.